summary, the first thing to do is to determine the day. Second is identify the last day of the month. Next is counting and displaying the remaining days of the month.
Pseudocode is a plain language description of the steps in algorithm. First, we identify the present date that we started working with the problem. And then next, we input the date and identify the last date of the month, which is 31, since the month of October only consists of 31 days. And then we subtracted it to the last date of the month, which is 31, to the current date that we chose, which is 23. For our algorithm, we just simply based our steps in pseudocode, but in the way that computers understand. Flowchart. So the first symbol or the first shape that we put is an oval shape which represents the starting point or the ending point of the flowchart. Next is the parallelogram that represents an input and output of the operation. And our input is the October 23rd as the current date and October 31st as our last date of the month. The next symbol that we put is the diamond, which represents the decision making, which means that we have to ask if we need to go further or end the flowchart. Next symbol we used is a rectangle. I used two rectangles to represent the processing data in what we did of the decision making. The next symbol is the parallelogram, which represents the output of the flowchart. And then we ended it another oval shape to end the flowchart.
So this is the code. Next, type a number 23 and enter. Here is the explanation of the code. For this one, this is the default code for the language C. Also, a default code, but if you'll input int, you have to input any number after the code returned in the last part of the code. Yes, I use int in the variables because the value I am giving to them are numbers. The purpose of this is to print or when you input words and etc. This is for the new line and to have a bigger space after the word. The purpose of this is to accept the word I am typing, so since I input this, it will accept numbers only, and the purpose of this, it will assign the word that I input. Then here, I am giving now the purpose of the remaining days of the month. So, the remaining days is equal to 31 minus the number of the date that I assign, which is 23. And 31 because it is the total days of the month. But, I can change it into 30 and etc. But since October has 31 days, so I input 31. Here, there's two of these because I just don't like to have a small space. Then, print day to day is %d. So, there is %d and it will print a number. Then, the next, it will get the number to the date. As you can see, it does not have a symbol of a and, since it will print anyway. And the date will get the number I input earlier. Here again, it will print the remaining days. I input again the %d, then it will get by the value of the remaining days. This is called terminator. I input in the first part of the code int main, so I type 0, or I can put any numbers such as 1 or 2. If I input car, which means character, I must input A or B or any letter. But since earlier, I input int, that is why I input 0, which is a number. Overall, the code will ask for the date today to get the remaining days and will subtract the total days of the month to the date today.